Very good. Let's get into the training here. So what is mortgage field services? If you haven't had a chance to look into it further, basically mortgage companies make houses on loans, and at some point 3 to 4% of all homeowners will fall behind on payments, and about 10% of these will vacate their property. It's those vacancies that we're looking for. They pose a risk to the mortgage company, and that is why we exist. That's why the mortgage field services industry does exist. So anyways, when these houses go vacant, they're at risk for squatting, vandalism, and water damage. So we're there to catch it as soon as it happens. And then once we identify it, they send in another company behind us, behind you, called a preservation company. They'll come in and change the locks, remove the debris, and winterize it, and make any repairs that you've left unattended to would further put that house at risk. And then after those locks have been changed, it becomes an interior inspection, and you will have a master set of keys, which will get you into these houses to do the interior. Okay. So the way the work flows is the mortgage company they contract with national inspection companies, who in turn contract with state and regional companies like myself, Field Asset Reporting, and then we are obligated to find boots on the ground like yourself, and then that work flows right back up. We check it, we send it to our client, the national inspection company, and they ultimately send it to the mortgage company. At home, these are some tools you want to make sure you have: your office tools, good internet connection, a working computer, printer, scanner, mapping software, and just standard envelopes. The number 10 envelope is the standard envelope you'd send a letter to somebody in. In your car, you should obviously have your smartphone, a car charger. Please don't leave without it. These apps can drain the battery. Your ID badge, which will be mailed to you at some point, a small LED flashlight, keys, and a volt stick. Keys will be mailed to you, and the volt stick will be mailed to you. Volt stick is, I'll show you an example of one here in a little bit, but basically it tells you if the electricity is on or off. A pair of scissors to cut your vacancy notices out, several pins, clear packaging tape to tape the notice to the window or door, some more number 10 envelopes, your door card messages, and your first-time vacancy stickers. The door card messages and the first-time vacancy stickers will be emailed to you. All right, so good photos should always be completed in the mobile app. No exterior or interior of your car in the photos. Horizontal photos only, so you're going to hold the phone sideways. Subject of photo must be centered. No kids, no people, and no kids. The worst person you're going to come in contact with is your neighbor. It's not so much the occupant. The occupant knows what's going on usually when you tell them that you're performing mortgage services. It's the neighbor who is not privy to this information, and boy, do they want to know. So if you are asked by a neighbor why you're taking pictures, just say we're performing services on behalf of the mortgage company. Be polite, be courteous, thank the neighbor for their time, and then leave the property if they refuse to offer any information. Never trade information with them. Don't feel like, well, they've helped you determine if the house is occupied. Now you should tell them why you're there. You can't ever mention the mortgage company by name, delinquency, foreclosure, default, late on payments, past due. Nothing like that indicates. Just simply keep it to we're performing services on behalf of the mortgage company. Now, when it comes to the occupant, which could be the owner or the tenant, you can elaborate just slightly by saying we are attempting to verify occupancy on behalf of the mortgage company. If the occupant gets angry, hostile, calm them down, address their concerns. Don't play into their emotions. Don't escalate it. Don't return sarcasm with sarcasm, anger with anger. Calm them down and let them know if the conversation goes in that direction where it's obvious that they know that you know why you are taking pictures, then remind them that you're not the person or the company that's coming to evict or post papers. We're not on that end of the business. We're just there to determine if it's occupied or vacant, and that the mortgage company likes to see that they are occupied. It's a lot of cost to have these properties sit vacant, and they have to hire the preservation company who's going to come mow the grass or blow the snow, fix the repairs that could wait if someone was living there, fix broken windows. So it is in the best interest of the mortgage company to keep that house occupied. All right, so the first time, so let's say you've been doing this house for the third month, and as long as they sit in the delinquency status with their mortgage company, we will be sent out there once a month to get fresh photos, because you never know when that has changed and if they've vacated. Remember, it's 10% of all vacancy or of all delinquents are going to vacate. So now you've been going out there a couple months in a row. This third month you come out, oh, everything's gone. Used to be patio furniture, used to be signs of life. It's not there anymore. A first-time vacant is going to be one that you reported vacant. You're reporting it vacant for the first time, or if the property has gone from vacant to occupied and back to vacant. Maybe a renter moved in and then moved right back out. I've seen it happen. Maybe a family member decided they're going to squat on the house, or it's a missed inspection where it was vacant and then we missed a month. We didn't miss a month. We get our work done on time, but maybe the mortgage company for some reason didn't order it in month 2, and in month 3 we go back out and of course it's vacant. We knew that from month 1. It's still treated as a first-time vacant. So the first thing you want to do is, well, this slide is kind of out of order actually. I'll go through this, but you're going to leave a vacancy notice. Don't pay attention to these bottom pictures because that doesn't pertain to the client you all are working with. It's one of our other clients. These top 2 photos is more like what you're going to be doing. So I'm going to give you guys, email you the vacancy notice. You keep that in the car with you. You tape it to the door and you get a nice up-close photo. This one's not actually up close enough. You want to be able to read what's on the vacancy notice and the IN number that you guys are going to write on there. It's the work order number. Once you've posted it and taken the up-close photo, then you stand back about 10 feet, take a second photo showing the mortgage company where it was posted on the property. That's to prevent people from forgetting the vacancy notice, then posting it on their own front door, taking a nice close-up shot and passing it off as though they returned to the property and put it on there, or put it on there for the first time correctly. Again, it's been done. So that second photo needs to be there. Placed on the main entry door or above the doorknob. If the main entry door is not visible from the street, posted in a location that is visible. So if the front door doesn't face the street, find a front window, something that when you pull up, you can see there's something going on with the property, being that vacancy notice. Okay, and then if it's in bankruptcy, do not post. One other thing, if the first-time vacancy notice is damaged, so it's going to stay there from month to month, and on month 2 you return and someone's taking it off, you got to put another one up. Or it's been 7 months and the weather makes it unreadable, go ahead and take that down and put another one up. The photo requirements can be all those photos we just went through, and then you're going to add these to it. You're going to want a left side, a right side, a rear or back side, the gas meter, the water faucet in the on position, and the electric meter with the bolt stick. You can barely see this here, but in this photo, that's the bolt stick tip of one. And all you simply do is hold it to the glass on the outside of the electric meter. And if it lights up red, the power's still on to that property. You can just take a photo of that. A few more photos. You want the yard condition, front, back, and sides. Any sheds or outbuildings, any unsecure openings that the preservation company needs to come back and fix. Any damages, debris, city or county postings, and any vacancy postings from other companies. So the client we're working with is MCS, that's the National Inspection Company. Maybe before it was being done by, Altisource. And so if you find an Altisource posting, if you find anybody's postings other than MCS, those should be taken down. All right, so for an interior inspection, it's going to be all those same photos plus the ones we're about to go over. First of all, the first photo you want to get after you've gotten the exterior, so now you're about to go into the house, it's important that you get 3 photos of the lockbox situation. So first, take a picture of the code in the lockbox, like this first one here. That shows the mortgage company used their code. Second, open it with the key still sitting in there, take another picture. That shows them that their keys were inside their lockbox. And then take a picture of the key in the door with the door open about 6 inches, showing them that their key opened the door. This is to prevent inspectors from going into houses that aren't secure. If you come to a house where a window's open or a door is open, do not enter, because it's possible there's squatters inside or there's something that could harm you. So we want to make sure houses are secure before we go in and prove to the bank we use their keys. You will have a master set of keys. you can, and because there's going to be about 11 of them on a ring, it's pretty obvious those are master keys. So when you stick it in the door, you won't have these two lockbox photos, but you put it in the door, put it open 6 inches, and take a photo of that. You just never want to walk into something that was already open. Okay, so you're going to get 2 to 5 photos of each room, including the attic and basement. Mechanical equipment like HVAC, furnace, boiler, AC unit, water heater, and then always get a thermostat photo. Not all these photo requirements are going to be in the instructions. I have had to kind of standardize because I work with about 12 different companies. I've had to standardize exactly what photos would apply across all clients, so I don't have to train you all on, well, just get these photos for this client and just get these. There's a client that wants a thermostat, and in Michigan, it shows, or excuse me, Minnesota and Alaska we work in, it shows that the preservation company kept the heat on to prevent any water damage by freezing pipes. Okay, so here are the photos you're going to get once you're inside. Smoke alarm and carbon monoxide detector, an air freshener, which will be left behind by the preservation company. They'll leave them in each bathroom and usually one at the kitchen sink. The winterization sticker, sometimes they're orange, it just really depends, but it'll say winterization on it. Sign-in sheet if it's present. Any damages, infestation by rodents, haven't seen that, but it's possible. Any discoloration from maybe some water damage, anything like that should be noted so that the preservation company can take care of it. Debris that were left behind in personals. So sometimes we get into these properties before preservation gets there. They've changed the locks, but they haven't done much more. And so you will walk into houses where it looks like the person just is out getting groceries and you're standing right smack in the middle of their house. But they're vacant. I have no idea how they end up that way, but it happens. Sump pump, these are usually found in basements where water can collect. And then if there's mold, so focus on mold. In Minnesota, it happens because of the moisture. A lot of, you guys get a lot of rain, a lot of snow. In Alaska, we see the same thing. So if you go into a house and you see black mold, take a photo of it and then leave. And then you'll say that you couldn't complete the interior inspection because of the mold. And the next month, when you're asked to go do the same property, you'll remember, oh, this house has mold, and you don't even need to go in. You can just get all your exterior photos and then put in the notes, the house has mold. So for mobile homes, it's all the same requirements, but there's a couple extra things they want. Your VIN number, HUD cert number, manufacturer name and year, model designation, the affixed indicator, the wheels removed indicator, and the park indicator. All this is usually found in the following places: a kitchen sink, kitchen cabinets, or under the kitchen sink, kitchen cabinets, utility room cabinets, or under the skirting or by the hitch. In rare cases, you'll be asked to get photos of vacant land. You'll have an address usually, and you pull up and you can't find the address, and the last thing you're thinking is it's that piece of dirt right there. You keep looking for a house, and then after about 20 minutes, you figure it out. I'm telling you that from experience. Know that vacant land can be an address that you're going to, so don't keep driving by it over and over, burning up the clock. Just look at the neighbor houses and go, okay, I was supposed to go to house with the address of number 2, and that's 1 on the left, and that's 3 on the right. Okay, that's number 2. So if it fits in the sequence, it's probably the lot or the address you're supposed to be at. Get a street sign, a GPS, a neighborhood photo, and then a left, middle, and right of the lot. I'm going to show you how to do GPS in the app. Don't worry about that. Get a bad address photo, meaning you cannot locate the property because it doesn't exist, and you've proven that to yourself. You need to make sure it is a bad address, because if it's not, you've got to go back at your own expense. If it is a bad address, then you're paid for it. So if you do have a bad address, you want the nearest street sign, the nearest neighborhood, and GPS photo. Neighborhood, house, or complex that is not accessible due to snow and ice. Take a picture of the snow and ice that's preventing you from driving any further, because it would be too dangerous to proceed. The nearest street sign from where you were stopped, the nearest neighborhood where you're stopped, and a GPS photo. No trespassing. If you see these signs, don't go any further. And this brings me to a good point. If somebody asks you to get off their property and you don't, you're trespassing. But if a no trespassing sign is not posted, you are free to walk onto anybody's property until they tell you to leave. All right, but if you see the no trespassing sign, then go ahead and take a good close-up, zoomed-in picture of that, the nearest street sign in the nearest neighborhood, and a GPS. I don't think this one applies to you all too much there in Minnesota. It's more for metropolitan areas. Gated communities, you need to take a picture of the gate, the guard shack if there is one, the call box if there is one, a picture of the HOA name and contact info, and all four sides of the building or community. And sometimes that could be, a couple blocks, block by block by block, whatever that is, just to show that there's no entry point into that community. Some safety guidelines, no trespassing signs we talked about, no visibility beyond gate. So let's say you've got a 4-foot chain link fence around a house. If you can't clearly see the side yard, if the side yard has gates keeping a dog back, then don't go through the gate. I figure people put gates up and fences up for a reason, and sometimes that's because there's a big mean dog living there. So for your own protection, stay away. Squatters, if a house, we talked about if a house is unlocked or windows open, stay out. Or if a house is locked and you go inside and you sense squatters are present right away, turn around, shut the door, get out of there. Mold present, we talked about that. Pitch black inside a house, I wouldn't even attempt these, even with your small LED flashlight. And then questionable roads that would be too dangerous to continue to drive further on, basically the snow and ice conditions. Something I realized I missed up here on bankruptcy inspection. So a bankruptcy inspection is no contact. However, sometimes it's impossible not to get photos of a house because the people are outside. I don't want you to duck behind your steering wheel and hang your camera out the window while you keep pushing the photo button as you're driving down. Just stop, take your pictures from the car. They're going to say, "What are you doing?" "I'm just getting photos for the mortgage company." "Oh, okay." It's usually how that goes. But don't try to hide from them. I used to do that in the beginning because the people I was working for, the company I worked for, would say, you can't have contact with them. It's not the end of the world. We're just trying to not make our presence known, but if it happens, it happens. All right, let me see. I think I've got some more photo examples I want to show you guys. All right, here's some unacceptable. Remember, we want to do horizontal photos, not vertical. We want to be able to read the address. We can't read the address here. We don't want to take photos in the dark. So once the sun goes down, that's it. Blurry photos, not acceptable. And taking photos up the side of the car with the interior of the car showing, not acceptable. All right, so let's go over the form that you all will fill out for NCS. So on the computer, this is what an order looks like. It's going to look slightly different in your phone, which is what you'll be using most of the time. It's rare that you guys would have to get into the computer, but you will. So anyways, let's go through the questions. The first one is date completed. Actually, let's start here at the top. Client NCS, lender just is the internal code for NCS of who the mortgage company is. So 532 represents to them whoever their client is, whichever mortgage company. An REO account. So I'm not sure why that's there. Honestly, I've never seen that. Usually the owner's name is right there. So if you do have to leave a door card or knock on the door, you know who to ask for. Address, inspector, the rate for your county would be right there. That's the inspector rate, order ID, order date, the due date. Okay, and then here's your work order number, client order number, is what you would write on the vacancy notice. It's your IN number. Okay, and then instructions. So this is basically what the instructions look like for every one of your orders. Some variations, and what you'll notice in here is it will seem like there's a lot of information here that doesn't apply, and you'll call me or call Chris and say, what's going on? Why is it saying it's I-113 or what's this I-102? I thought it's just an occupancy verification. It is. So in case it's vacant, they put this information in here kind of as a default. It's just always there in case it's vacant. So the one thing you should notice right away is that it says to leave form I-116. That I-116 is the door card. Violation posted. Now I'm going to show, we'll go through this fast because most houses are occupied and they can be filled out the way I'm going to show you. Violation posted, no. Postings, notices, no. Occupancy status, if you knocked on the door and talked with someone and you know who occupies it, you can put occupied by either owner or tenant. Otherwise, it's occupied by unknown if you haven't had contact. And of course, if you find it vacant or it's a multi-unit, say it's got a duplex, one side's occupied, one side's vacant, that's where you would select this option, partial vacant. Or if it's a bad address that we talked about, or no access because it's gated. Now, with gated communities, you can follow a car in. Don't be afraid to do that. So not all gated communities are no access. It's just hit and miss. Sometimes you get in, sometimes you don't. Okay, now if it's occupied by unknown, just took your pictures from the car, or you didn't leave a door card, didn't have contact, you need to select 3 options here. The first one you can select is visual. It's a gimme, and now you just need 2 to satisfy this part of the form. Maybe there's a car in the driveway, personals outside, yards maintained. Just pick 3 here that fit, that you can document with your photos. Vacancy posting left at property is a no. Card left at property could be yes, depending on the order. Letter delivered to property is a no. And then you're going to say yes by submitting this inspection. I represent warrant that I've conducted a visual inspection of the exterior of the property, and that to the best of my knowledge, the information contained in this report is accurate. I further represent warrant that I have no current or prospective financial or other interest in this property. Okay, you say yes, keep going down the form. Building type, it's going to ask you for single family or multifamily, condo, a couple options in there. Stories, it's obvious. Construction type, select frame. Color, it's obvious. Parking structure, yes, it's going to be like a garage. And when you select that, it's going to ask you if the garage is attached or detached. Property has additional buildings that could be, like a detached garage or a detached, yes, Drew, this is what you complete. And remember to do the photos and fill out this form. This form never changes. These are you're just tapping. We're not asking you to write a report. This is a 5-minute process at very most to do the form and the photos on an occupied property. Property condition good, type of roof, usually asphalt these days. Yard type, it'll give you is the grass 2 inches, 3 inches, 4, no grass, dead grass, snow covered. New property damage, no, unless there is damage, usually not on occupied properties. Visible items, usually, go through that list until you get acquainted with it, but usually that's a none of the above. Escalation factors, this is usually none. Is this property part of an HOA? Could be, yes or no. Property value, usually selecting 200 to 500 fits most houses in America right now. I don't want you to look on Zillow. It's not necessary. We're not appraisers. They put this question on here for some unknown reason. Just default answer is 200 to 500. For sale, yes or no. If it is, yes, they're going to ask you to put in the phone number and the real estate company. Neighborhood condition, usually stable. Improving is new construction going on around you, and declining is ghetto properties. Electric, so on an occupied property, you're going to say yes, and other. For electric, verified by, and the electric company put in A. Okay, so electric, yes. If you know it's occupied, put yes. Verified by other, meaning we verified it because it's occupied, and then electric company in A. Same thing with the gas. Yes, other, in A. Water, yes, other, in A. Check any that apply. Usually it's none of the above, but if any of these conditions exist, please select it. Parking, driveway, and then observed on site. These 2 are redundant because they've already asked us about the driveway or the garage, but just usually select driveway and then observed on site. You can just reselect a couple of these that match. And that's it. Then it's saying at the end of this, here's your required photos they expect to have in there and labeled. It's the address, the occupancy indicators, the front view, the street sign, the neighborhood, which is what I told you. Those are going to be your minimum photos every time. And then based on how you answer this form, depends if there's extra photos needed. Like if you said it was for sale, it's going to ask you for a for sale sign photo. If you said it's vacant, it's going to ask you for the left, the right, the rear, the utilities. So, okay. oh, if you don't have any service, well, you're going to want to do your, you're going to download your properties before you go out. And if you know you're going to be doing work that day, before you put a route together or go out, you need to do a fresh sync or a fresh download in the app. We're going to go through the app here in a minute, because oftentimes in the middle of the night, these things get canceled. Some orders will get canceled, but it doesn't automatically delete it from the app. And so you'll go out there, do a property that's been canceled, and you won't be paid for that. So it's important that you always do a fresh download before you start the route. So if you don't have cell service, it's okay, because you've already downloaded that route, that fresh route, before you go out. So whatever you're looking at, you can always get your photos. You can do your Aspen Grove check-in. Yeah, I mean, I've been to plenty of places without service, and the only time it hung me up is where I hadn't done a fresh download before I started the route. And then I got to the address and looked at my page, and it said I was supposed to do this address, and it's like I can't find the phone. I know I've got to. Oh, I forgot to download it. So now I have no way to get that property into my phone, and then I've got to take photos with my regular phone camera, and then come back to a computer and put those on. And then the client says, "Hey, these are missing their what do they call it, GIF data, or yeah, I think it's anyway, it's some sort of tracking data on that picture." So it just creates a mess of problems. So download before you go out. Okay, so the insurance loss is people who have had damage at their property and they've had to file an insurance claim. These people are not delinquent. They have done nothing wrong with the mortgage company. They just simply had a repair. Here's a scenario. Mr. Jones has a water break, supply line to the toilet. He comes back from a weekend vacation, and the toilet was upstairs, and the whole upstairs floor has flooded, leaked into the downstairs, and caused even further damage downstairs. He calls up his insurance company. They come out. They write up the scope of work, a bid. Okay, it's going to be $50,000 to replace this, repair it, put it back to normal. The construction company comes out. They start doing their repairs, and the contractor says to the homeowner, "All right, we need to get some payments before we can go any further." It's called a progress payment or a draw payment. The homeowner maybe doesn't have this kind of money to keep the job going, and so they need the money from the insurance company. But the insurance company has written a check to the homeowner and to the homeowner's mortgage company. So until those repairs can be approved, that they are being done and that the money is going into the house and not onto a vacation, some European vacation, we have to verify on behalf of the mortgage company that those repairs are done. So they call these insurance loss work orders or loss drafts, but you are not working for the insurance company or on behalf of them. You are working indirectly on behalf of their mortgage company, the owner's mortgage company. Okay? So you'll get a scope of work alongside this form, but this is the form that you'll take with you to the property. You'll have them sign in the bottom left, or their contractor, or somebody else they've approved, which they just mark other, and then you'll sign in the bottom right. The appointment day needs to be filled out, which would be Monday through Sunday, the date and time. You don't have to fill in the contractor's name, the tenant name, anything like that. Then the percentage complete, I will help you determine what percentage complete it is on your first 2 or 3 until you understand how to do these. And then area of home and description. So in my example, it would just say supply line to upstairs toilet broke, causing water damage to entire upstairs and kitchen downstairs. Just something like that gets to the point. It's not a report. If the repairs are not 100% complete, you would put maybe 60% here, whatever it is. You would mark this box, repairs are not complete, and then you just simply list the trades that are needing to be completed. So it would say install cabinets, flooring, paint, countertops. That's it. The photo requirements are street sign, front view, and address. They can show you went to the right house. And then once you get inside, or if it's an exterior, you need at least 5 photos of the completed work. And if it's not completed, you need at least 5 photos of incomplete work as well. So on an incomplete job, you need 10 total photos of the work itself. On a completed job, you need at least 5. It won't let you upload from Inspectorate without it.